Today we're going to start writing equations from real-world situations and filling out a table based on those equations. Okay, so our goal will be to be able to read about a real-world scenario, write an equation, and then create a table of values. Okay, in the process of writing an equation, I'm going to be thinking about a few things first before I can write the equation. Okay, we want to identify our variable for the independent one, as well as what our dependent variable is. Okay, then we want to think about which operation are we going to use. Okay, and we can find a keyword or phrase to help us do that. Okay, so starting with an independent and dependent variable. Okay, in this problem, we're frosting cupcakes, and we want to know, is the total frosting dependent on the number of cupcakes, or is the number of cupcakes depending on the total frosting? I would say that the total amount of frosting I need, F, will be dependent on the number of cupcakes I make. Okay, so I'm going to choose how many cupcakes to make, and that will then determine how much frosting I need. As I read through the rest of the information, I'm looking for a keyword that will help me decide which operation I'll use. In this problem, the word each is telling me how much for one, and I'm going to use that to find other values. So in this one, I would say each means to multiply. When I go to write my equation, I'm going to start with what my dependent variable is. I'm going to write that on one side of the equation by itself. So the amount of frosting is going to be equal to, then I'm going to take my independent variable and I'm going to have this operation written with it. So I'm going to take C and multiply it by something to find the amount for F. What I'm multiplying it by is given to me up here in the first part. So my equation reads, the amount of frosting is going to be equal to the number of cupcakes multiplied by 5. Once I have the equation, I can then complete a table. I'm going to plug in values for either the F variable or C variable, and that will tell me the other one. Here I know 4 cupcakes. So when I solve this, I'm going to replace the variable F for cupcakes with 4. So F equals 4 times 5, which is 20. For the next one, I know the number of cupcakes is 12. So in my equation, I'll replace C with 12. 12 times 5 here is 60. In the next two values, we're going to be told the amount of frosting. So instead of replacing C, I'm now replacing F. So we have 35 in the F variable is equal to C times 5. Okay, I want to know what value for C would make this true. Okay, and I know 7 times 5 there will give me C. The last one, I'm again told the amount of frosting. So I'm replacing F with 75 is equal to C times 5. And I'm trying to identify what the value is for C that makes this true. With a larger number, and if I'm not sure what times 5 will give me 75, I can solve this equation by using my inverse operation on both sides. If I divide 75 by 5, that will give me 15. So my value for C, if 75 is F, is 15. Okay, as we work on other examples, we're going to pay attention to keywords that will help identify. In this example that you're about to try, we are going to again identify the independent and dependent variable and the operation to create the equation. Okay, starting with independent and dependent, C is the number of cookies per friend. And we are going to share them equally between F friends. Okay, I'm going to start with my operation because I know this word here will mean to divide. So I can put that in and fill in the other two next. When you're deciding between your independent and dependent variable, again, you want to think which one controls the other. So the number of cookies each of my friend gets, will that be dependent on how many friends I'm sharing with? Or does the number of cookies I give each friend determine how many friends I share with? I would argue that the number of cookies that I get to give each person, C, is dependent on how many people I decide to share with. When I go to write this equation, again, we always want to start with the variable that's the dependent first. C here in this problem. When I write my equation, the dependent variable is by itself, okay, and then I'm going to be doing whatever operation the problem is with the independent. For this one, because we're dividing, we're going to make sure we're careful to put the two values in the correct order. So 100 represents how many I have in total, so that is what's going to be divided up. I'll take 100 and divide that by the number of friends. So using, again, these previous steps, I'm able to come up with my equation. Okay, this reads that the number of cookies each of my friend gets is equal to 100, my total number of cookies, divided by how many friends I'm sharing with. Okay. Once I have that equation, I can then fill in any other values from a table. Okay, again, and when we're reading the table, we're going to replace this number with this variable. So 2 is going to go where the F is. So here I would have C equals 100 divided by, and then again, instead of F, I have 2. Okay, I'll put that into a calculator. 100 divided by 2 is 50. This is a skill that we're going to be working on over several lessons. It will take some time and patience, and as you are working today, just remember to keep being positive. You got this.